I am Neil Wiseman, your host, editor, and fellow pastor. Welcome to the February 1981 issue of the Minister's Tape Club. Through the unique capability of the recorded word, cassette tapes, and your own tape player, we cross many miles to receive practical insights to help us do our Christ-exalting ministry better. This issue focuses on several areas that are important for our ministries. Today, we begin with the State of the Church message by General Superintendent Eugene L. Stowe. I'm so privileged to welcome him again as an MTC resource leader. Dr. Stowe discusses the significance of several manual changes which deal with the tenure of Nazarene pastors. Dr. Stowe?
Thanks for letting me stop by and chat with you today. I trust that the year of the minister is proving to be a most challenging and rewarding one for you. In several of these State of the Church messages, I've alluded to the subject of pastoral tenure. It has been my contention that stronger churches will only be built by longer pastorates. Recent developments indicate that our entire denomination is coming to this conclusion. Last June, the 20th General Assembly recorded several landmark decisions in this regard. Now that the 1980 manual has been published, this legislation has become official. Let me update you on some of these changes. First of all, the basic period of tenure of the pastor who is an elder has been extended to 2 years. Licensed ministers must still function on the 1-year call, since their licenses are subject to annual review and renewal at the district assembly. The only exception is when they accept calls after the beginning of an assembly year. Then licensed ministers may serve for the next church year, provided their licenses are renewed at the assembly. Elders who accept calls to churches after the close of the assembly year will have tenure for the remainder of that year and for the following 2 years. This is a major breakthrough, for it will give pastors a minimum of 24 months between renewal votes and will enable churches to engage in longer-range planning. Another helpful change relates to the size of the churches where district superintendents may appoint pastors. Formerly, this authority was given only when a church had 25 or fewer members who were 15 years of age or older. Now such appointments may be made in churches up to 35 voting members. This will undoubtedly result in more stability in pastoral relations in a greater number of smaller churches. A third change, and no doubt the most dramatic one, has to do with the continued call of the pastor. In addition to the 3- and 4-year calls, which have previously been authorized, a third option is now available. It is the call for an indefinite period of time. The conditions for this call are: 1, the pastor must be an elder; 2, he or she must have served that church for a minimum of 4 years; 3, there must be a favorable 2/3 majority vote of the congregation on a 2-year call; 4, the church board must recommend this extended call by a majority vote of all members; 5, it must be approved in writing by the district superintendent; and 6, it must be by 2/3 majority vote of the congregation. Once such a call has been extended, the pastoral relationship shall be reviewed every 4 years by the district superintendent meeting with the church board. This legislation represents a dramatic change from our traditional philosophy of pastoral tenure. Once extended this indefinite call, a pastor is not subject to a congregational vote unless a majority of the church board calls for such a vote. The very fact that there was no debate on this proposition on the floor of the General Assembly would seem to indicate that the church is genuinely concerned about securing longer pastoral tenure. I personally believe this will prove to be a very valuable innovation. It should provide greater stability in local congregations by eliminating the periodic public vote which has all too often resulted in division and disruption. It will certainly remove a real trauma which has plagued pastors and their wives and their families at recall vote time. Then it will enable the leadership of the church to engage in true long-range planning in the 5 to 10 year time span. Realistically, the facts are that every congregation will not opt for the indefinite call immediately. History proves that it took a good while for the extended 3- and 4-year calls to gain acceptance. Many churches will want to see a trial run of the new call in other churches before they try it. This points up a note of caution which should be sounded. The indefinite call has one serious potential danger. Where our previous system has resulted in some pastors having too short tenure, this new procedure could result in some pastors staying too long. The added security could become an inducement to settle down in a comfortable situation, even though effective leadership is finished. It could be possible that by clever maneuvering, one's opposition could be eliminated from the church board, and a pastor would stay on to the detriment of the church. If this should happen too often, another General Assembly might reverse the procedure and revert back to the old system. This very thing happened at the last General Assembly in regard to the length of time a pastor may continue on after failing to receive a 2/3 majority vote. For a number of years, the policy has been that pastors receiving a simple majority but not 2/3 could continue on for 1 full year after the assembly. However, so many pastors evidently abused this privilege that the General Assembly enacted legislation which now makes it mandatory for such a pastor to conclude his ministry at the district assembly following the vote. I trust that no pastor will take advantage of the indefinite call and stay on when the work of the church is suffering. How can one know whether to stay or go? As I suggest in my book, The Ministry of Shepherding, it is my judgment that somewhere between 4 and 10 years constitutes reasonable tenure for most pastorates. There are exceptions, of course. Some pastors can and should stay for 25 years or even more. The final standard is not the number of years, but the state of the church. Is it united? Does a spiritual atmosphere conducive to revival prevail? Do the statistics show a steady pattern of church growth? When in doubt, seek the counsel of the district superintendent. From his perspective, he is in a position to judge what is best both for the pastor and the church. Then, of course, the final decision must be made on one's knees. Fasting and prayer will clear the atmosphere so that we can identify the issues and be sensitive to the guidance and direction of the Holy Spirit. With this high attitude of heart and mind, we can sincerely pray with the songwriter, "Holy Spirit, be my guide. Holy Spirit, my doors open wide. Make me to know thy will divine. Holy Spirit, be thou mine." With this heavenly help, we can be assured that we are making the correct decisions concerning pastoral tenure. Goodbye, and God bless you.
Thank you for listening to the Holiness Today podcast. If you enjoyed this production and wish to hear more, visit holinesstoday.org/podcast or find us on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts.